The Egyptian High Committee for COVID-19 has given an ultimatum for citizens and employees to get vaccinated. Beginning November the 15th, unvaccinated civil servants will not be allowed into their offices. And from the 1st of December, unvaccinated citizens will not enter government buildings. The step is to be accomplished by the launch of a digital mobile application to be a vaccine pass for all citizens. A mobile app that registers vaccination status will also be used to help the authorities identify people who can or cannot enter government buildings. Well, CGTN's Adel Imruhi is in Cairo and joins us live for more on that story. Hi, Adel. Today is a day when unvaccinated civil servants are to stop being allowed to their offices. What is the situation like there?
It is being applied for the very first time, Hannah, so there is a bit of improvising. There is no automated system applied all over, and therefore security personnel at government buildings are trying to impose their own system, each government building on its own. So far, all the reports show that most of the procedure have been proceeding peacefully and normally. However, there have been some objections from some employees who still refuse to get vaccinated and do not want to be prohibited from entering their work and therefore their income affected if they do not get to their public offices.
Adil, how is the government managing the flow of employees and citizens to public offices at the moment?
Well, what they're doing right now is that they ask all public servants to enter wearing, of course, the regular personal preventive equipment and measures, such as the face mask. They have to show now that they have a photocopy or an actual certificate of vaccination, that they have at least gotten one dose. They don't have to be fully vaccinated to enter government buildings, but they have to at least start the process. And if they don't have any form of proof and they claim to have been vaccinated, they can use their national ID number and on the computer in government buildings they can check whether they've been actually vaccinated or not. So they're trying to provide multiple ways to prove that they have in fact gotten at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccines. Now, starting December 1st, the same procedure will apply to public in general. So every Egyptian citizen or resident who is going to be going into a public office, they will have also to prove that they have applied and gotten at least one COVID-19 vaccine starting December 1st.
Although something else that is happening is Egypt's national research body saying that it will start clinical trials for a domestically made coronavirus vaccine. What can you tell us about that?
This is big news for Egypt. This is the first human vaccine that Egypt develops domestically with the equipments and the technology it has, no matter how humble they are. Now, experts say that the human clinical trials are going to be conducted on 3 phases. Through these 3 phases, if everything moves on time, Egypt should have its own fully developed COVID-19 vaccine issued for emergency use within 9 months.
It was a proud day for Egypt. The Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Khaled Abdel Ghaffar, announced that the first locally developed COVID-19 vaccine is now entering its final phase of testing. COVIVax sought the Egyptian drug authorities' approval to commence human clinical trials.
Egypt has never had experience in creating vaccines or even worked on human-related vaccines. We have many successes in veterinary vaccines, but not for humans. When the Egyptian president gave us the directive to work on a COVID-19 vaccine, he showed confidence in our Egyptian scientists and promised to support our attempts by all means.
The new vaccine must pass through 3 different phases of human trials before getting approval for emergency use. It will be first tested on a limited number of people, from 300 up to 800, to prove its safety.
Once we prove that these vaccines are safe in a small number of healthy volunteers, we can move into phase 2, which includes a higher number. You are trying to prove whether it's effective or non-effective. Once you've proven that it is effective and it did not produce any side effects in people that do have other complications, once you've proven this, then you get the release and it's available. So each phase normally takes between 2 to 3 months.
That should make Egypt's first developed human vaccine available before September next year.
The first advantage is that you don't wait for the other countries to supply you or to give you their production of vaccines or not. The second is you now have the know-how of how to produce a vaccine. The vaccine war has started and it won't disappear in the foreseeable future. So we have to have the ability to produce our own vaccine that is isolated, cultured from the vaccine, from the virus that is available in our country.
The government began research to produce COVID-19 vaccines in March 2020. Besides Covivax, the Minister of Scientific Research says another COVID-19 vaccine will enter human trials within the next few days.
Egypt has already begun manufacturing COVID-19 vaccines domestically in collaboration with the Chinese pharmaceutical Sinovac. The country is no longer challenged to cover its domestic needs. Developing Egyptian vaccines, however, is a great milestone for scientific research in the region that will help feed the demand in the Middle East and Africa. Adel Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.
Well, thank you so much. That was Adel Amrouhi speaking to us from Cairo and bringing us that latest report from Egypt.